We're an organization that is entirely supported by our members, by the businesses and nonprofit organizations that support us and belong to the Chamber. And so our membership team, our Chamber ambassadors have been working very hard over the last couple of weeks to help us reach out to other veteran-owned businesses and veteran-friendly businesses across the area, and we've seen a big jump in membership because of that. As a chamber, we are very committed to working with a wide array of nonprofit organizations and resource partners.
Today we're sitting here with Saul Newton, the founder and executive director of the Wisconsin Veterans Chamber of Commerce. Saul, I want to thank you for having us here today. Absolutely. And taking the time to tell us a little bit about your organization and yourself.
Thanks for being here.
I appreciate it. So with that being said, can you kind of tell our viewers, a little bit about your history, where you came from, where did you grow up, and do you have any family or siblings?
Yeah, I moved around as a kid, but my family settled in suburban Milwaukee. I grew up the majority of my childhood in Waukesha, Wisconsin. So just a little bit outside of Milwaukee, but kind of stayed in the area. I'm the oldest of four. I have two younger brothers and a younger sister. And actually spent most of my childhood growing up with my grandparents. And my grandparents, I'm still really close with them, but they had a really big impact on me and kind of the importance of just being a good moral person and kind of leading by example. I don't have any military background in my family or anything like that. I was the first person in my family to join the military. But when I graduated from high school, I went to school for a couple of years in central Wisconsin at UW-Stevens Point. And after a couple of semesters there, I wound up in the military, serving in the Army.
Awesome. So what made you decide to, just one day, did you research it? Did you go out there and just say, hey, I'm joining the Army? What was that decision like?
Well, so I initially started, I had always wanted to be in the military. When I graduated from high school, I actually wanted to join the Navy as a way to go to law school. And I ended up not doing that. I went to college instead. But after a couple of semesters, I think I had a pretty common experience, which was college is expensive. And, I was working 3 jobs at once trying to pay my tuition and room and board and supplies. And so I was just kind of treading water and not doing that well. And so I started looking more closely at the military as an option, not only to give me some of the discipline and some of the responsibility that I knew that I needed, but also the GI Bill and the education benefits that come with serving in the military would have really allowed me to finish my educational goals. And so that's how I wound up in the military. I had a couple of really close friends who had previously served in a couple of different branches, and so I was lucky that I had them as resources and guides to kind of walk me through the process and settle on the Army as my branch of choice.
Sure. Yeah. So what was your experience like in the military? Can you explain a little bit on that? Like, what's some of the things that you took from your military experience that you're applying to what you're doing today?
I think the biggest thing that I learned in the military and that I still draw from today is just resilience and perseverance. It's the idea that you really can do whatever you set your mind to. If you decide that you're going to do something, whether it's run that extra mile or take that hill or in a professional world, finish a project, there's really nothing stopping you but you. And so that's really the thing that I learned probably more than anything else in the military is just that there is no quit, that you should never give up on yourself or those around you. And that's something that I still really take from today. The other thing that I really take from is the fact that nobody accomplishes anything alone. In the military, you are part of a unit, you're part of a team, and you accomplish things because of the people to the left, the right, the front, and the back of you. And that's the same thing that I've learned today is that even in a role, in an entrepreneurial role where I do a lot, but I'm really lucky that I have people around me who I can rely on, and we can work together as a team.
Sure. Can you talk about that a little bit, about the importance of surrounding yourself with the right people to help you get to where you want to go eventually?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's as I said, it's something that I first really learned in the military, was that you can have everything yourself squared away, but if you don't have a strong group of people around you, it's going to be a lot harder to accomplish any task or accomplish any goal. And so, you know, the importance that I found is not only to have folks who are, you know, experts in their field, who you can draw from their expertise and their knowledge to improve yourself, but also just the fact that you have people around you who are kind of marching towards that same goal, who are really trying to accomplish the same thing you are, is really the difference between success and failure.
Sure. Before we got started here, we talked about some of the challenges that us veterans have when we're exiting the military, and how do we translate those skills that we had in the military to civilian life? Mm-hmm. Can you talk about some of the challenges that you had and how you overcame them?
Absolutely. So I got out of the military in 2012, and I think the biggest transition for me was going from an environment where you did have a strong strong support system around you. You had a really close, tight-knit group of people who you worked with and who were part of your team and part of your unit, and transitioning to being essentially an individual again and trying to figure out how to kind of operate in that environment again. And the other thing that I really struggled with was just trying to find a sense of identity again. You know, when I think when we're in the military, because that is such a huge part of our lives, that really gives us a sense of purpose, it gives us a sense of belonging, and it also gives us a sense of who we are. And so to strip that away and come out of the military and try to figure out, all right, well, what's next? What do I do next? That's going to give me that same sense of fulfillment and purpose that I had. What's my next mission? That was really difficult for me to kind of figure out on my own. I was really lucky that I had, again, folks around me who were able to kind of, that I could lean on. But that didn't, you know, it was still difficult to kind of go through that process. And I think that no matter what, no matter the individual, I think that's a big, that's a challenge for a lot of folks once they come out of the military, is to kind of figure out what's the next step for them.
Sure.
That gives them the same sense of pride and purpose that they had while they wore the uniform.
Excellent answer. So when you, what kind of inspired you to start the chamber then? Because I mean, there's not a lot of people who are that ambitious to go out there and start an organization like this, because, you know, it's tough to build, you know, a chamber of commerce, you know, by yourself. So what kind of inspired you to go out there and do that?
Well, I think it was fundamentally, just like any other entrepreneurial enterprise, it's recognizing that there's a need that isn't being filled. Yeah, I was looking for, I had gone back to school after I got out of the military, and so I was kind of looking for, well, what do I do when I finish up school? And I knew two things. I knew that I wanted to work with veterans. You know, as a vet, that was something that I was really drawn to. And I also wanted to find a way to kind of highlight veterans and empower them, and start a little bit of a different conversation around veterans. I think sometimes veterans can be defined by the challenges that some of us face, rather than the contributions that we continue to make. And that was something that really motivated me, was how can I draw attention to the fact that a lot of veterans, yes, some of us experience challenges, but the vast majority of us take what we learned in the military and apply it to the civilian world and are all that much more successful because of it.
Sure.
And so that's kind of what got me looking into this intersection between veterans and our economy, and looking at how many veterans are starting businesses, how many veterans own businesses, how many businesses are looking to hire and employ military veterans because they know they make great employees. And also how many veterans are continuing to serve by leading in their communities, by starting nonprofit organizations, or by volunteering their time, or just continuing to make contributions. And so that's what kind of brought me to an idea for a business organization that focused on veterans and military families. Because as I started looking into this, I realized just how integral veterans and service members and military family members are to our state's economy in a way that I think most people don't recognize.
Great answer. When you look at VetBiz TV, you know, one of our slogans is aim, execute, advance.
Yeah.
Can you talk about what your aim and what your target was when you first got started in this? Like, what did you envision?
Yeah.
And how is that coming to fruition?
Yeah.
And then executing it, you know, how do you getting those resources and putting them to work for you?
Sure. So starting this organization, the purpose and the aim of the organization was really to draw together all of the resources that could give every veteran an opportunity to be successful once they left the military. If they wanted to start a business, that either we had or our partner organizations had resources that could help them write a business plan, or access capital, or learn how to attract customers, or grow revenue, or operate efficiently. And really it was meant to be kind of that convening spot that could bring resources together to make sure that veterans who were starting businesses could be successful. If the service member was looking more for professional development, you know, we could work with them to make sure that they were set up for success once they went into the workplace. But really the aim of the organization was to be that intersection between the business community and the veterans community, and kind of draw both of those seemingly disparate groups together, because they are very connected and very interlinked. So starting off, we deliberately had a broad mission and we had a broad focus, because there are a lot of different aspects of our economy and of the business community that veterans are part of. How we've been able to grow as quickly, first I think it comes down to, again, as I said, surrounding yourself with people who are supportive, who share the same goals, and who complement your skills and your knowledge well. They bring things to the table that you don't necessarily have. And the other thing was just being aggressively active, I would say.
Sure.
You know, I think a lot of times folks, for whatever reason, are kind of cautious, and I found that there's not a whole lot of difference between starting a nonprofit organization and starting a business. I think that a lot of the fundamental experiences are the same. The goals are a little bit different, but I think that as with starting a business, what we found was that just jumping in with both feet and being active, and really not, to use a little bit of a cliche, not let any grass grow beneath your feet, right? To always be moving on to the next thing and the next thing and the next thing.
Sure.
To grow your organization, to deliver a value for our members. That's really how we've been able to grow, I think, as quickly as we have, is we didn't let any time waste. We just kind of jumped in with both feet and got moving.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So what was that like when you first reached out to somebody? Did you reach out to your family to get things going, or did you reach out to businesses right away, or did you reach out to nonprofits? Like, how did you really put, rubber to the road?
So getting out of the military, one thing that I think all veterans also struggle with is just a lack of a personal network, especially coming out of the military immediately. I started the Veterans Chamber of Commerce about 2.5 years after I had gotten out of the Army, and so I didn't have a really broad professional network that I could tap into. So it was a lot of kind of being comfortable outside your comfort zone, and just cold calling people and introducing myself and saying, my name is Saul, I'm starting this organization, I'd like to talk with you about it, like to explain what we're trying to do and see if there's an opportunity for us to work together and see if there's an opportunity for us to partner. And that was really, I think, a big difference maker, because just, as I said, putting yourself out there and kind of throwing off any doubt or reservation and just being willing to take risks really paid off, because it turned out that there was a demand for an organization like this. A lot of this was, just starting out, like anything else, it was an idea. My idea was, I think that there is a need for a business organization that focuses on veterans and military families. And as I started introducing myself, introducing the Veterans Chamber of Commerce, it turned out that a lot of people had been looking for something like this, and they just needed somebody to kind of put it together and package it in this way. And so once word started getting out, more and more people were drawn to it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And I've had the pleasure of attending a few of them, and I can tell you that it has been a great experience, because you don't have that camaraderie that you normally would have at your job. You're hanging out with veterans who understand where you came from, the struggles you went through, the challenges that you faced, and stuff like that. So I really appreciate you putting those together, because I've met a lot of great people already through your organization.
That's what we're here for, is like any Chamber of Commerce, we're here to build relationships, we're here to support our members and help them grow their businesses, but I think it's especially meaningful for folks who were in the military to find a group of folks that not only have a common background and a common experience, but also have shared goals today. Everybody is trying to be successful in whatever definition that is for them, whether that's attracting customers, whether that's growing their business, or being successful in their workplace. But I think that what we found is that a lot of folks are drawn to us because you do find that environment of just support, and kind of that team mentality of, we're here to help each other out, we're here to support each other in whatever way we need to.
Sure.
Yeah.
Awesome. The other thing is too, because how long have you guys been around?
We actually just passed our second anniversary at the end of last year, so we're going on. This is our third year of operation. And
that's amazing, because you guys, how many members do you have now?
As of today, we have 183 dues paying members.
That's amazing.
Yeah, thank you.
So with that being said, the last factor of aim execute is advance.
Yeah.
So what's kind of your plan moving forward to grow the organization even more? Because I know that other states have reached out to you actually to talk to you about how they can start up something very similar.
Yeah.
So what's your plan to get things even further ahead?
Well, I think that what we've built here in Wisconsin is a model for other states to follow, and a really key component to making sure that veterans have a successful transition and have opportunities to be successful. And so, other folks have reached out to us to say, I'm in Illinois, I'm in New Jersey, I'm in any other state across the country, because there aren't that many states that have this. So I do think that we've built a model that other states can follow. Our focus is growing within Wisconsin and really continuing to serve veterans all around the state. So we've been looking at building out our programming, building out our events to cover other areas of the state. For instance, Madison, Green Bay, Fox Valley, Western Wisconsin, La Crosse, Eau Claire area. There are 65,000 businesses across the state of Wisconsin that are owned by military veterans. There are countless others that are looking to attract veterans as consumers and customers or as employees. So there is a need for what we do in every corner of the state. And so our focus right now is continuing to develop innovative and useful programming that serves our members, so that we can attract more members to grow and cover other areas of the state.
Sure, and that is a big help, you know, not just veteran-owned businesses, but you have other businesses within your organization that are not veteran-owned, but they're looking to hire veterans.
That's right.
Or work with them in some way, shape, or form. So if there's veteran entrepreneurs, maybe that company is looking for somebody that is a veteran so that they can use the resources of that company, the services they offer.
That's right. I think that the message that we have for everyone is that no matter which aspect of business you look at, veterans are involved and veterans are integrated into that aspect of business. So that can be our startup community in Wisconsin, and the fact that veterans are twice as likely to start a business as non-veterans are. That can be existing businesses with 65,000 businesses across the state. That can be, you know, if you're looking to attract more customers and consumers to your products and services, prioritizing and marketing to veterans and military family members is a really large consumer demographic. Hiring veterans is obviously a great way to grow your business because they make great employees, and also to attract new customers because folks are drawn to veterans. I think that just fundamentally any aspect of business ownership and operations, veterans are a key component of that, and that's really what we try to highlight.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Can you talk about, you know, if there's a company or a person out there, a veteran in another state or across the country somewhere that's looking to start an organization like yours? I know you know it's not perfect, and you're still figuring things out, but I think you have a really good model set up. What kind of advice would you have for one of those individuals out there that's looking to start something very similar? Where would they start? How would they?
I would say first put together your team. Put together the folks that are going to work alongside you. We would not be where we are today without the work of a lot of people who donate their time, who donate their expertise, and their labor to helping us put on events and develop programs and support the organization. The other thing that I would say is if you decide that you want to do it, just do it.
Yeah.
You know, have a human-shaped hole in the wall right where you go through. I think that one of the things that attracts veterans to either business ownership or starting organizations like this is that we do have a higher tolerance for risk, and we're not as afraid to try new things out. And if they don't work, then we adjust and we move forward to try to be successful next time. But for anybody that's looking at either starting a business, starting a nonprofit, starting an organization like this, don't doubt yourself. Just don't be afraid to try new things, I would say.
Sure, awesome. What's one thing that you'd like our viewers to know about the Chamber that maybe they don't know about, that's very important for people to know about?
I think it's an organization that is not exclusively for veterans. In fact, we're very deliberate about bringing in both veterans, military family members, civilians. It really is a community that is all dedicated to the same goal, which is success of veterans and making sure that they have every opportunity to be successful once they leave the military. So if anybody watching this is maybe they have a family member who served, or they're just supportive and they want to be involved to help veterans be successful, we encourage them to get involved with us.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And then how can our viewers find your organization? I know you're on social media, website.
We're on all the social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, but the easiest way would be to go to our website, which is wiveteranschamber.org.
Awesome, and we'll put that up here for you guys. That way you can click and go straight to the website, check out what Saul's doing within his organization and the great people that are part of the Wisconsin Veterans Chamber as well. I do have a gift here for you as well. Everybody who's on the show does get a t-shirt.
Wow.
And actually, one of the veterans, part of the Chamber United Press Printing, David, you know, he makes these t-shirts for us. So if you're in need of any apparel or anything like that, reach out to David at United Press Printing as well. He's also part of the Wisconsin Veterans Chamber.
Yes,
so that's what we do. We try to support one another and help one another out. But I want to thank everybody for watching this week's episode of VetBiz TV.
Thank you for tuning in to this episode of VetBiz TV. We really do appreciate you watching. If you have any questions or comments, please put them below. We'd love to hear your feedback. Also, subscribe to our YouTube channel at www.vetbiz.tv. Just hit the subscribe button. You'll be informed of all of our newest episodes and content coming out. Again, I want to thank you again for watching, and we'll see you in the next episode.
You